Changes on the way for IS-BAO make it easier to comply now and in years to come. From the National Business Aviation Association, this is Flight Plan. I'm Pete Combs with your trusted source for business aviation use. There are changes afoot for the International Standard for Business Aircraft Operations, changes designed to make the standard simpler and easier now and in years to come. Bennet Walsh is the program director for IS-BAO. Bennet, let's start with the roundtable that you conducted recently at the NBAA Business Aviation Convention and Exhibition in Orlando.
Thanks for letting me do this. We're very excited about where the program is heading, and that's because of the amazing group of operators that are involved. As BAO operators, they're striving for excellence and they go above and beyond. So what you see is a group of operators, no matter where they are in the world, and they're around the world, of the 750 operators, they're around the world, that are doing that. It's extra effort, it's hard work, and they do that. So we're responding to where they told us they wanted to go. The IS-BAO program started with a really nice beginning, and it's going through a refresh over the last few years that's driven by the industry.
The refresh itself, what are the changes that are coming about as a result of that?
Good question. We listened to what the operators wanted for their program. So it's 17 years ago when it began. Operators needed a refresh on where it came from to know where it's going. The beginnings was a startup by NBAA and EBA, the member associations of IBAC, to this nonprofit that became the IS-BAO program. And it's member-supported, member-driven, it's governed by members, it's their program. So this is the operators' program. And it was needed to help with SMS in the business aviation context, which it did. But now, after so many years, SMS is not new to us. We know how to spell it now. And we needed the different add-ons and the follow-up. There's a reason we do it, and that's to be proactive, and to reduce risk, and to improve operations. So this BAO is a SMS with an operation system. We went to the industry. So the listening tour started in 2016. We wanted to change the standard based on where the industry is today, the program that is. And the listening tour with the auditor focus groups, the operator focus groups, the new entrants to the program, their focus group, and now the Stage 3 progressive option focus group has given us a tremendous amount of feedback, as well as our industry involvement going to roundtables at the regional level, the safety committee roundtables, aviation director roundtables, chief pilot roundtables. Anywhere there was an organization that wanted to learn about this and had a comment, we wanted to get it. And so they wanted more involvement. After all, it's their program, and they should. And we're just the custodians of that program, so we're here to take it that direction. So what came out of it was pull the Band-Aid off approach back in 2018. So last year's Standards Board approved the Vision 2020, which was a complete refresh of the standard. Things are in the right category. It had grown over 15 years, and I'll admit things were not necessarily collated correctly, so
sort of a sprawl.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it was reorganized, it was shortened somewhat, it was simplified. We tried to get rid of ICAO confusing language or lawyer speak so that the standard makes sense. Refreshed with new tools to use it. The protocols have amazing tools and tracking, great reports and graphs for you when you use it. Updated it entirely, and then we promised the industry that we would leave the standard alone and let it be solid so that they can change as needed and not have regular revisions, because through the years it was revised every year, so there was certainly change fatigue.
Well, but there was warranted to some degree because it was still in its formulative process.
Exactly, yeah. It was. So the 2018 is usable now until July of 2020, and the Standards Board this year, the only thing that they debated to vote on is that when we leave this Vision 2020, we're not going to go back to an annual revision cycle. That standard will become the revision number whatever, and it will continue past that, updated incrementally when something is is significant with industry or ICAO that demands attention by the business aviation sector. And that's appropriate. That's how you run your flight department. You don't revise your GCOM every year. And not saying that's what was happening, but it's much more simpler. It'll give more stability and permanency and help flight departments because they're very busy.
Absolutely. And I think the idea of setting a standard once you've formulated it to some degree speaks again to the maturity of the program itself.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we talked a little bit about the feedback, but let's go back to basics for a second. You told me a little bit about the formation of IS-BAO, but tell me about its membership size and who are the members and where would you like this to go from here?
Well, it's interesting. The members are amazing because the excellence that they're demonstrating. So a couple things are happening there. There's mid 750s. We have had the same amount total through the last 5 years, somewhere in the mid 700s. It fluctuates a few, 3 or 4 every year. So it's been somewhat plateaued lately, and that's what drove the attention to the refresh to find out, well, where do you guys want to go next? Where does the industry want to go? So the operators, it's a Annex 6 Part 2 private operation standard. However, 30% of that 800 number, just use round numbers here, are commercial operators. So we have nearly 300 AOCs that use the IS-BAO. And that speaks to the organizational elements of it. The diversity amongst the globe is interesting. That's changed too. Started primarily in North America and Europe. The shift now, it's right about 60% North America, 30% of the registered operators are global outside of North America. It's now the stage 1 entrants are shifting. More and more operators outside of North America are coming into the program. And so the growth is exciting there. And we're also seeing strong interest among the new entrant focus group with people that are wanting to do it for the first time. And we're working closely with NBAA's Small Operator Safety Symposium on the tools that are available and a complete refresh on a startup guide with appropriate to the new entrant that could be a small operator. It's easy to scale up. It's making these concepts as simple as possible so it becomes more seamless integration into your operation. That's the challenge, but we're working very closely with small operators themselves to make it that way.
Are you seeing more small operators come into the program, and how are you addressing some of the issues that they brought up about simplicity, about time involved, about trying to actually reinvent the wheel to create their own SMS program?
Well, the small operator, the new entrant focus group is targeted to that sector. And one of the things that was very clear from the beginning is they tell us that operationally speaking, pretty much everything that's there, that's easy to grasp and to do. The elements that we struggle with is the SMS. So a couple of simple things like if I've got a busy flight department, how do I get my team ready for a gap audit? How do I explain the difference in policy and procedures? And what's the value in having a written, documented flight operations manual? And how do we do that? What is a human factors-based type manual? So what they've asked us for, what we're working on with them, started with infrastructure, a web portal. You log on, here's your information, here's where you find the documents that you need. And what we're developing is the material to roll it out, a startup guide. So a PowerPoint that you can take to your team meeting at your operation and roll out, this is how we do a gap audit. This is some basic SMS training on what these things mean and break them down to their most basic components. If you want to do an SMS with index cards and use color coding system in different folders, that's fine. You don't need an expensive system, a computer system. So we were breaking it down to that level. We set our goal for ourselves working with small operators because you have to have a very efficient approach. Visual, checklist type. We're breaking down like one of the most complex subjects, SPI, safety performance measurement, to like assemble. Our goal is a single sheet picture with the graphs to make this as simple as possible. It doesn't have to be complicated. It's great if you want to add on products, if you want to spend money and do things and support other commercial interests that provide wonderful programs to support, and you need that at some point as you scale up. But when you're by yourself or just 2 people or 3 people in one airplane, it's got to be something quick, simple, and it's got to be real. Because if people don't believe in it and it's not something they use that they see a difference from, then SMS just sits on the shelf collecting dust.
For more information on the IS-BAO standard, check out the website ibac.org/IS_BAO. Let me tell you about that again. It's ibac.org/IS_BAO. And that's the latest from the National Business Aviation Association. Remember, you can subscribe to all Flight Plan podcasts at Apple's iTunes website or download them from NBAA.org. I'm Pete Combs. Thanks for listening to Flight Plan.